Something about the DNA of the Filipino people doesn't add up. When scientists began sequencing ancient genes across Southeast Asia, they expected to find the usual migration patterns, groups from Taiwan moving south, Austronesians sailing out into the Pacific. But buried inside the bloodlines of the Filipino people, they found something older, something deeper, and something science still struggles to explain. From mysterious Denisovan ancestors to links with both African and Pacific tribes, this is the astonishing story of the DNA mystery of the Philippines, and why it's rewriting human history. The Philippines is made up of over 7,000 islands, an archipelago so geographically complex, it acted as both a barrier and a bridge. For thousands of years, different groups of people arrived, settled, vanished, and merged. Some stayed isolated in mountains or forests, others built coastal trading hubs that connected to China, Indonesia, and even Arabia. But here's the strange part. When geneticists began sequencing modern and ancient Filipino DNA, they didn't find a single, unified ancestry. They found a genetic jigsaw puzzle, layers of human migration stacked like sediment, some dating back tens of thousands of years. One of the most shocking discoveries came from a group of extinct humans called the Denisovans. They were distant cousins of Neanderthals, mysterious ancient hominins who lived in caves in Siberia and Southeast Asia. Scientists thought Denisovans were long gone, until they looked at Filipino DNA. Particularly among Negrito groups like the Eta, Mamanwa, and Ati, they found some of the highest levels of Denisovan DNA ever recorded, even higher than those found in Melanesians or Papua New Guineans. What does this mean? It means that long before Austronesians or Malays arrived, the ancestors of modern Negrito tribes were already here, living, adapting, and mixing with now extinct humans. Filipino blood carries echoes of a people who left no temples, no cities, no writing, only traces in our genes. Textbooks teach that modern Filipinos descended from the Austronesians, a seafaring people from Taiwan who began migrating south around 4,000 years ago. They brought boats, farming, pottery, and language. And yes, a huge portion of the population shares Austronesian roots. But here's where things get strange again. Some Filipino groups like the Mangyan of Mindoro or the Ivatan of Batanes carry DNA that doesn't fully match the Taiwanese model. It's as if a different older migration happened first, one that modern history hasn't fully accounted for, and now scientists are rethinking everything they thought they knew. Yes, you heard that right. Recent studies show that small groups of Filipinos, particularly among ancient forest tribes, carry genetic markers more closely related to African hunter-gatherer populations than to any nearby Asian groups. How is this possible? Some theories suggest a common ancestral population, possibly from early human waves out of Africa over 50,000 years ago, before other groups arrived in Asia. Others think it's due to isolation and genetic drift, preserving traits that have been lost elsewhere. Whatever the cause, one thing is clear. Filipino ancestry includes threads that link not just to Asia, but to the very origins of humanity. Now let's sail east. Did you know that modern Hawaiians, Tongans, Samoans, and Maori all trace part of their ancestry back to the Philippines? That's because the Austronesians who left Luzon and Mindoro eventually populated much of the Pacific, spanning Madagascar to Easter Island. When scientists mapped Polynesian DNA, they found shared maternal lineages with Filipinos, especially from northern Luzon. This means the Philippines wasn't just a stop on the journey, it was the launchpad of one of the greatest human migrations in history. But while we're talking about who left, what about those who stayed? Deep in the jungles of Mindanao and the mountains of the Cordilleras live tribes that have been isolated for thousands of years. Some speak languages that can't be traced to any known group. Others have cultural practices, tattoos, and chants that resemble distant Pacific Island rituals, or Echo-African initiation rites. The more scientists look, the more they realize the Philippines is not a melting pot. It's a vault of preserved ancient identities. And every island, every tribe, every dialect may be a key to unlocking how humans spread across the world. In 2021, a study published in Nature revealed something explosive. When researchers sequenced genomes from the Mamanwa people in the southern Philippines, they discovered unexpected archaic DNA. So unusual they couldn't trace it to any known hominin group. It was labeled ghost DNA, an unknown ancestor, no bones, no tools, no name, just evidence in the blood that someone, or something, once lived in the Philippines long ago and left a legacy behind. To this day, scientists still don't know who they were. So why should we care? Because the Filipino identity is too often reduced to Spanish colonization, American occupation, or modern pop culture. But your roots go deeper, tens of thousands of years deeper. Before the Spanish, before Islam, before Austronesians, there were warriors, seafarers, and families, crossing oceans, surviving eruptions, and building lives that have been largely erased from textbooks. The Filipino genome is a time capsule. It carries the story of migrations, extinctions, resilience, and survival. The DNA of the Filipino people is one of the most diverse and ancient in the entire world. It connects Asia to Africa, the Pacific to the past. It's not one story, it's a symphony of forgotten histories. And the more science advances, the more it reveals what was always true. You are not the edge of someone else's empire. You are the center of a story the world hasn't finished reading. This is Wander Signal. Subscribe and join us as we continue uncovering the powerful ancient truths behind identity, culture, and pride.